right, it is time to track the tropics. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade, and let's talk about what's going on. We've been fortunate, at least across the Houston area. We did have a weak tropical disturbance dump about 4 inches of rain on us Friday evening, but it wasn't a tropical depression. It didn't strengthen to a tropical storm or Hurricane Dexter, so we were spared. It was kind of dicey there for a while on Friday night, but at least it wasn't an official tropical system, although we did get a lot of rain. I do want to show you an official tropical system. It's nowhere near us, though. You can see the Hawaiian Islands. We have to go all the way out to the central Pacific, and this is actually well south of the Hawaiian Islands. So this is a look at Hurricane Iona. It was fairly weak just 24 hours ago, but now it is blown up to a Category 1 hurricane. It is spinning out there in the central Pacific. And if you do have some vacation plans to Hawaii over the next few days, good news is that it is expected to stay to the south of the Hawaiian Islands. But it is officially a hurricane, and it does have maximum sustained winds around 75 miles per hour. Movement is to the west at 10 miles per hour, and it's actually forecast to become a Category 2 hurricane by Tuesday afternoon with winds around 110 miles per hour. So fairly potent hurricane out there. So thank goodness it's just staying out over the open water, not messing with anyone, but it is going to slide to the south of the Hawaiian Islands over the next few days. So we'll watch Hurricane Iona closely, but I don't think it's going to be any major impact to land. However, as we go a little bit farther to the east, this is the western eastern Pacific, and this is a look at Invest 98E. So this is not quite a tropical depression or tropical storm yet, but there's a medium 60% chance that this could become a tropical system out there in the western East Pacific. So it is starting to get more organized, and that one will likely follow a similar path to Hurricane Iona. Also, as we get closer to Mexico, now we are in the East Pacific. Of course, this is the Gulf. This is the East Pacific. You see Mexico here. There's Houston, there's Dallas. So this disturbance is developing a lot closer to Central America and to Mexico. So this is Invest 99E, as if we didn't already have enough other systems here, but this is another system we're monitoring, and notice we've got the red shading here. So there's a high 90% chance that this will become a tropical depression or tropical storm, likely in the next day or two. And this one could have more impacts to Mexico, including the Acapulco area, due to the fact that it is much closer to land. So there is the disturbance, and it is going to be tracking off to the northwest. So bottom line, a lot going on in the central Pacific, in the eastern Pacific. But what about our area, the Atlantic Basin? Well, things are quiet, but you can see the train of tropical systems potentially that we could have from the eastern Pacific all the way to the south of the Hawaiian Islands in the central Pacific. So this is where we have most of the action. I'll put this into motion. You can see as we go through Wednesday, Thursday, notice it looks like a system here, a system there, a couple in the central Pacific. So this is where we have our busiest tropical weather for now. So these systems are all moving away from Houston and from the Gulf, so we don't have to worry about those. But we are getting to the point to where we're likely going to start to see more action in the Atlantic Basin as we get into August and especially September. So far, still no hurricanes for the Atlantic hurricane season. We've had 3 tropical storms. The CSU meteorologists, of course, are predicting still 16 named storms, 8 hurricanes, and out of those 3 becoming major hurricanes. Our average would be 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. And actually, our average date of our first Atlantic Basin hurricane isn't until August the 11th. So that gives you an idea of how things typically start to ramp up as we go through the month of August, especially across the Atlantic. So still officially the next name on the list would be Dexter, then Aaron, Fernand, and Gabrielle. And then we've got another long list, a second and third panel there in case we need it. Hopefully we won't need to use all of these names, but the potential is there. We have super warm waters in the Gulf, well into the 80s, Western Atlantic, Northwest Caribbean. Steamy water out there, definitely enough to fuel a tropical system, but this has been the main issue for much of the season. We've had a ton of Saharan dust just coming off of the west coast of Africa in waves. The darker colors indicating that thicker dust. Dusty air is dry air, so that helps to limit tropical development. So as long as we have all of this dust swirling out there in the Atlantic, we're probably not going to experience too much tropical activity. So notice our Fox Weather tropical model as we go through the rest of the week, showing some clusters of disorganized showers and storms coming off the west coast of Africa and trying to move west across the Atlantic. But there's not really anything that's looking very organized, looking too impressive at this point. So National Hurricane Center still thinking over the next week, no tropical activity across the Atlantic, the Caribbean, or the Gulf. So hey, let's celebrate one more week, hopefully, of quiet tropical conditions, but we can't let our guard down, because August is right around the corner. It starts, of course, in just a few days, and that chance for tropical storms and hurricanes will increase. Highest risk in August is going to be right off of the east coast of the U.S., from the Carolinas up to the mid-Atlantic, and there's even a little area of orange in the north central Gulf for a more likely chance for a tropical system for August. So we are going to watch those hot spots closely. Notice that in September, that is really when things typically historically get active for us. The purple area is the most likely region of hurricane development, and that's going to be the western Atlantic. Once again, not far from the east coast of the U.S., parts of the Caribbean looking very active, and potentially in the Gulf there could be some action. So we'll have to watch things closely. Always a reminder to never let your guard down when things are quiet. That's a great time to make sure you have all of the supplies you need in your hurricane emergency gear kit. Go over your insurance, make sure you got flood insurance, any other insurance you may need for severe wind damage or whatever else could happen in a hurricane, and just make sure you're prepared at the last minute.